There we go. We're live. It's James speaking, trainingsites.io. It's Friday afternoon. I think it's September 19th if you're watching this after the fact. This is a live session, totally unscripted. Well, I have some notes in front of me to go over. But for the most part, it is unscripted. And I'm trying to do these every Friday just to kind of give a little bit of a recap about what went on earlier in the week and specifically about the education business. So if you're not familiar, trainingsites.io is my company. It's what we do is we help people who are creators start, build, and grow an education business. And we build campuses. And what I want to do today is I just want to talk about some of the stuff that happened this week. And these are just observations, stuff that happened in the space of AI and content creation. And I'm going to go through something that I've kind of been observing for the last little while and trying to figure out where does education and AI and this whole idea of courses from the past, where does it fit in, and how we have to be very careful, I think, if we're in the teaching business or the education space, as to what we're going to do kind of moving forward. And I'm going to go over a couple things, and then I'm going to end with maybe a secret, but a question I think that people haven't been asking, and they probably should be asking. Now, the reason I did this session today, um, I'm going to read. I won't mention the person's name, but I had someone make a comment who just joined trainingsites.io. Again, this is my free community. You're welcome to come in there, but I'm just going to read a little bit of it because I thought it was kind of fitting as to someone who has a background in courses and has been successful selling courses. And the title, the title of it was. Let me just see if I can. I'm going to show you just so but make sure his name's hidden because I haven't spoken to him specifically. I don't want to necessarily identify who it was, but it was kind of interesting because the thing was, he said, my business model is toast. I've been watching your channels, for example, and he was talking about, for years he's been doing a course model, done very, very well with it. And he's been going, I'm in trouble. My business model is no longer working. And the way he kind of recognized it because of the way that he was learning himself. So it's one thing to create courses because you think that's what you're supposed to do. And if you just go do a search on Google right now and or YouTube, sell courses or create courses, you're going to find a bunch of videos there. Some of them are older, but some of them are still new. And they're talking about, being able to build a business with courses. And I just don't think that's possible right now. And it was kind of just brought to a head by the person that quoted. So, and he was saying, here's the part that he kind of figured out. He said, my habit was to begin with a YouTube search for a tutorial based on my question. Pick the shortest video and sit through it. If it wasn't the answer, I'd loop back through the same kind of search again. Until 6 months ago, I realized I wasn't doing that anymore. Going straight to AI for a better and more reliable solution. Any need to refine the question was just that, and it was always zeros of what I needed to know. So even though YouTube is a place to actually go and learn things, and it's the second biggest search engine, what he recognized is he wasn't even doing that as much as he did before. He was just going to AI and asking for answers to specific questions. And I think that's a pretty accurate observation from him. And I know I do that myself. In fact, I was on with some clients this morning, and during one of the sessions that I have, a recap with them for the week. And we were on the session. It was asking about a piece of software in this particular case. I didn't go to the documentation of the software company. I didn't go to YouTube to look. I didn't look at their channel necessarily for YouTube videos that asked or answered the question. I opened up, in my case, I think it was ChatGPT, and basically said, I'm looking for an answer to this, or how do I do this with this particular piece of software? I didn't even bother with the traditional ways of trying to learn something. It was straight to AI. And I think, in as much as we might be ahead of the curve if you're even knowing about this stuff, about AI and how to use some of the tools, this is just going to get more prevalent as people become more familiar with how easy it is to ask a question and get something back. And even when you're asking a question, the cool thing is the question now, when we're doing things or interacting with AI, these are natural language prompts. It's not anything that was really, really fancy. And just to give you an idea of how much has changed in the last 6 months, I'm going to go over just a couple terms of just things that I've done videos about on the Training Sites channel on YouTube. And you're probably asking, well, if you're going to use AI, why are you using or creating YouTube videos? And I'll get to that at the end. But my big observation here is that things are changing so quickly, and the way that we consume and search for information that is specific to us in a personal situation that we find ourselves is all focused on AI now, and being able to access simple answers and not long constructed linear courses that used to happen. And just to put, again, one of the other things that happened, I check my emails in the morning. I'm sure everyone does. You got social media feeds. Um, the thing that I'm starting to see, and I want you just to kind of pay attention to this, I think the heyday of the live event is going to be coming back, which is something that in the was really, really in the early, 2010s, all through 2015 was like super prevalent. That was like you went to a live event, you did some training, you networked with people, you had working sessions. It was just a lot of fun, and you picked up a lot of stuff interacting with other people. And then everyone got into e-learning and doing videos because it became a little more cost effective. And then of course all the stuff that happened with COVID in the early 2020s. So everything was online, but now that content is available to anyone at any time in any format that they particular want. And I'm just going to go through some of the again, I don't know how long these ones last. I just get talking on that. And I think I do have a couple people watching, again, totally unscripted. If you do have a question about this, don't be afraid to put it in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer it. Um, Maybe we can go down that direction too. And then the other thing is, if you do have questions or comments, put them in. And of course, I would love a like on the channel here, because apparently comments and likes are more important than subscribers now. So we'll see what happens there. But here's some of the things. And again, these are just notes that I was kind of thinking about, um, looking about courses and business models and the business of education, not entertainment, but the business of education. And if I look at 2024, it was all about prompting. There was a huge focus on prompting and making sure that you could create or structure prompts to get some kind of response. And again, the heyday of that whole period, if you were talking about terms or hearing about terms in the AI space, it was like prompt, prompt, prompt. And then after that, there's been a whole bunch of kind of things that have been released by all of the three. There's four big players, or probably five, but I only focus on three. So you'll hear ones from some of the Chinese models. I think DeepSeek is still kind of the bigger one. You'll hear about Grok. You'll hear about Gemini from Google. You'll hear about ChatGPT from OpenAI and Claude from Anthropic. I think those are kind of the big five consumer related large language models, are the big AI engines. And a lot of the other tools actually just run off of those big tools. But these are some of the things that came out in the last 6 months that kind of caught my eye. One of the early ones was ChatGPT started to release tasks where you could schedule a prompt to run on a regular basis and respond back to you. So it wasn't you being the instigator or the trigger of everything and going and asking it to be done. It was something that could be done automatically, and you still get some kind of response. And in fact, I have one that's been running since January, which gives me a kettlebell workout every day, a different kettlebell workout, because I love doing kettlebells. So every day at noon, I always get a brand new workout to do on kettlebells. And again, it can be a business task. It could be anything that you want. It could be research on something. It could be a lesson. It could be a reflection. It could be a quiz. But the fact is that we now have something that is completely automated, and we've went from a prompt to a scheduled prompt or action that is taken on our behalf. We got into deep research, for example, which was one of the other things that happened in all of these AI tools. And it's cool because when you start about the AI tools, it's like one person or one company brings out something once, and then it's like 2 weeks later, the other companies have it. So, deep research is available in all of the tools now. And this is something that, took ages to actually do from all of these multiple sources. But now you've got an AI tool doing research on topics, on opportunities, on markets, on processes, on other companies, on all of these things now can be researched where it's multiple sources being checked, analyzed, researched, put together in a format that we want. So again, not something that we uh, have to do manually, and it's something that was required when we were doing courses before. But this is something that can be done by someone just with, one of the AI tools. Multimodal came out in the spring from Google. There was Google Flash 2.0 was multimodal. So it wasn't about text prompts anymore. It was, hey, here's my screen. Look at my screen. What's on my screen? Interact with me on the screen. Verbally interact, verbally reply. Videos in, videos out, VO3, all of these cool tools coming out. Again, if I'm trying to teach someone how to create a video or some of these things, why would I bother if I can go to one of these tools and basically get the video created for me? So devices are the other thing that's changed. So AI devices. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, was the Facebook announcement for their glasses and the wristband. So they've got those Ray-Ban glasses now with the cameras in them, the screen and the lens of the glasses, and they had a little wristband and hand movements that figure out, so you can actually zoom in, zoom out, move through screens that are showing up in your glasses. Again, another input or way to interact with AI. So you're thinking, do I go take a course, or do I go to AI first in multiple devices, multimodal, deep research, repetitive tasks, all of these things in the last 6 months? Some of the other ones about having those glasses on is something about context. A lot of people were talking about, having to have context in your prompt engineering and providing context. Now we've got a situation where multimodal inputs provide lots of context. And then we've got the glasses and these devices, whether they be the wristwatches or the glasses or the ones that work off your inputs from moving physically. That's all the physical context, knowing where you are in space and time. Not needed anymore. The browsers, Comet browser, there's one, Perplexity. That particular one actually has the browser or the AI built right into the browser. You don't even have to go ask questions. It's there on the screen with you. Uh, some other things that just kind of happen, and well, these are all things in the last 6 months. So the reason this is important, again, I think, is because if you came from that create courses, build a business with it, all of the tools surrounding knowledge and education have completely changed the way that people look for answers to the problems that they have. And any kind of traditional static course that is something about content, and even a simple process or logical flow to that content, it's being disrupted very, very quickly from all of this. And I think, again, this is one of the things I'm just playing around with. Is there any questions? A couple people are on here. No, no questions. That's cool. Um, one of the cool things here is what when I'm playing around with this, is that I've been thinking about the whole idea of having a website or actually marketing education businesses. And in the past, it was all about having a lead page and lead magnets, and either spending money or ads, or doing SEO optimization, or trying to do a joint venture and say, hey, send your list to here so I can get their email and then start marketing to them. And that, as a business model, required like landing pages and often a website. And the part that I've been playing around with, I think if I was starting again, I'm not entirely sure that I would actually have a website anymore. I think YouTube itself is getting very close to being enough of a replacement for an education business or someone starting to start monetizing their education. And I think that is even going to get more important after the announcements the day before yesterday. And I think it was Made with YouTube was the announcement they had. And they did a couple really wild things that they announced there, just to give you, where was the ones that they, I'll just pull that one up if I can find it. Yeah, so here's kind of the stuff that I was going through. They've done a whole bunch of things with live streams, which I think is interesting. I've been doing live streams for a while now, just like this one. And I think this is going to be a sought after skill for a couple reasons. And I'm going to try and do more than I have been, just for this particular reason. One of the things that they made the announcements on was that the brand partnerships that you can do with live streams now made a lot easier, and the ability to insert brand deals over set periods of time as opposed to having them statically inserted into your content. They've made that really, really easy. So you're going to be able to start doing brand inputs on those as well. So sponsorships, things like that. And again, it doesn't really matter what market you're in. There's always an opportunity to joint venture with someone about some part of your business. So, you'd be able to enable and remove sponsorships from long form content. And again, resell slots to other brands within it. So think of it this way. It's like if you have something where you talk about a particular piece and you have 3 or 4 vendors that can fit into it. You can sell that slot in one piece at one time, but then sell the same slot to someone else in the long form content. Some of the other ones that were kind of interesting there, again, they're going to do a whole bunch more with shopping, which was cool. But the other notes that I came up with, let me just find this one here, because I had something that I thought was kind of, yeah. Here's the ones that were kind of neat. Product taggings, brand links in shorts, but here's the one for live streams that were really, really cool. They allow now to have, and actually I think this is going to come out in January, so we're still a couple months away, but they announced it yesterday. So we're going to have side panel ads in the live streams. So right in the side, they're going to less disruptive than eruptive ads. So think of it as like you've got your live stream like this, but there's a panel on the side. I would think maybe something similar to that, or up and down, where you're going to have ads directly in. And again, these are things that could be monetized for it. That was just one of them. They had collaborative ones, which the other one was cool too. You can have up to 5 collaborators in some of your live streams. And again, this is something you can't do in a recorded one. It's live. And again, this is something about joint ventures. You have other people in your market, other people that are in similar markets or similar topics or complementary pieces to your business or whatever it is that you happen to be talking or live streaming about. You've now got not only your audience, but you have the access to 5 other people's audiences, and the revenue and the additional pieces that can come from those are yours. The other thing is, and I know I just signed up on my channel, is they do have paid memberships now on YouTube. So you can set it up, and I think it's once you're monetized, it becomes available. But you can actually have, a channel within a channel that's for members only. And in the past, it was only videos, but now we've got public to members only live stream transitions. So creators with channel memberships will be able to transition a live stream from public to members only during the same broadcast. So think of things where you're doing presentations of a particular topic, but you want to get into more detail. It's like, hey, if you want to be a paid member, here's how you pay. And the actual class or teaching is actually there in behind, and you can monetize those. And there's a couple different price points there as well. Things like, for example, doing, like 3 levels of monthly payment directly within YouTube. So YouTube's got a whole bunch of things that allow you to monetize within YouTube. But I think the cool part is that after that, you still have the transcriptions, which I've done a whole bunch of videos on, which I think are the gold in YouTube. And I'm going to tell you why kind of at the end. The other thing that I think is changing about the whole education business is, and again, this is something that I run into all the time now, is if I know on my subscriptions that I have on YouTube, there's a lot of people who maybe weren't in the AI space and they're coming in to learning about AI now, and they kind of there's a transition, kind of a transformation from prompts to all of these pieces. And what's really becoming popular now is the whole idea of throwaway apps. And again, these are things that maybe you had to teach people how to get the output from the application, but now there's no need to learn how to do it when you have a natural language app that can be created quickly. There's all sorts of things like mini apps from AI Studio or lovable.dev, or again, there's a whole bunch of different ones. And again, I've done some videos on these ones, but this is, this is Google Opal just did one. There's the Google Canvas, which is one I just did. Did I do? Let me see if I have this one here. I did. I think I was looking at it from one of the videos that I had. Yeah, so this is one, for example, that I just built, was a handle customer inquiries, and it was basically from a text description of what I wanted it to have, and it actually created a customer inquiry one. And I built a couple of them for different purposes. So, do you have a course on how to handle customer inquiries, or do you go like a tool like this and just say, build me a mini app that I need to do that one particular task? And then the whole idea of AI automations and agent swarm slash departments of agents that run in sequence. This stuff is all available, doing all of the tasks that maybe we kind of had to learn before. And again, I'm just going to mention these are just terms from 6 months, from the last 6 months. Nano Banana, the banana stuff for creating graphics. VO3 for creating videos, lifelike videos with narrations or audio. Any of the conversation tools now that are available in terms of companions that are actually built into these AI tools. Avatars from Hey Jen, and there's channels now on YouTube that are 11 Labs doing the audio, Hey Jen doing the avatar that looks like you, and scripts that are generated with AI. And then the other one is this whole idea of MCP, or the way that any of these AI tools I've been talking about can actually connect directly with all of your data. And I think this is the part that no one is asking right now, which I think people really should start to ask. And this is why this is my whole business right here. And I'm going to just bring this up again, and want to make sure that some of the names are not there, but I'll show it anyway. Is that all of this content that we're creating for parts of our business, whether it's the research or the applications or the custom GPTs that we built, or the things that we generate on a regular basis and do with customers and interactions, no one has a place for it. There's no one thinking it through on where am I going to keep all of this valuable content. And that's why I think building a personally branded campus or your community library of not only your research, but the interactions that all of the people that you help have, that knowledge base from all of the community is the real gold mine moving forward. It's not about, yes, I can create an app. Like there's some people that just, are building a business about, hey, I'm going to build an automation for you, or I'll build an app and sell an app. And there's certainly, definitely ways to monetize that. But if you're in the education business and you're serious about, well, I used to do courses and I still like teaching people, but I want to be able to do that in a way that has some legs. I don't want to be replaced. Having all of this content, that all of these cool tools I was just talking about, where are you going to put it? Where are you going to keep this knowledge base of yours? This expertise that you have, not only from maybe your 5, 10, 20, or 35 years of experience in a particular topic or category, where are you going to put it and make it available to other people? And that's that whole deal with MCP, Model Context Protocol. And you're starting to see the tools are coming out now, the ones I mentioned, like Google and OpenAI and Gemini and Claude. These ones are all now, the AI tool is connecting to your community library. And if you don't have a community library and you've got your research, but it's not curated in a constructive and thoughtful way, you're giving away the whole store with that particular content. And again, these are the things that I just kind of want you to kind of think about. Am I going to create a course, or am I going to think a little bit bigger about that? Am I going to try and do things to organize content the old way in a static fashion? Or am I going to use all of these AI tools and some of the things I was just talking about to allow AI to access your content? You know, this is the big question I think everyone's missing, and it's why a privately branded campus that is powered by YouTube is the way to go moving forward. And you know, if this makes sense, give me a thumb up. I know might be a couple people on here. I actually did see a couple people come on. Hey, mail, okay. Model not for teachers on the guide model, not teachers, concept and education schools. Hey, Mark, thanks for coming in. Oh, Anil, thank you for coming in. That's the part. I'll probably do another video on this, but I think personally, again, this is just my personal guess here. I'm guessing that the ability to teach and explain the application of the content that people generate with their AI tools as it applies to them, but to be able to do that live, I think that is going to be an absolute blast. And that's what I'm counting on personally. Um, I'm going to be doing as many live sessions as I can, like a regular classroom. So it's getting on, having people. Hi, Reaching Higher. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to be doing as many live sessions as I can, doing Zoom calls, and I will do some that are live streams here on YouTube. It's a little bit higher, obviously, to interact with people because it's just chat and you can't talk to them uh, um, in a other than text at this point, unless you bring them in as a collaborator or a guest on a show, which is something that I'm going to start doing as well. So it's not just my content, stuff that I'm creating or researching, but I'm going to be doing as many live classes as possible. So I think, you know, that's why live streaming on YouTube is a really good idea, because it gets you comfortable being in front of the camera and being able to talk to people, uh, which I think everyone's good at it. They're maybe just afraid to get started. And it's kind of interesting too, because the YouTube announcement that they had, where's the one that, let me see if I can bring it up again. No, I don't have it in front of me again. Sorry. They had the one, sorry, for YouTube. You can actually do practice live streams now. So you can do the live stream, get comfortable seeing yourself, make sure you're in the right place in the camera and it sounds okay. See if you're looking into the camera or reading off something too many times. But that is the part that if you're going to teach someone something live, getting comfortable live streaming or doing a Zoom call and kind of guiding people through or mentoring people through the application. And when I think about application for myself, and again, I don't know what market that everyone is in, is that, you know, I have my privately branded campus model that I put together, and I'll just kind of just show you the pieces that I think are here. And this is the part that we teach, or I teach at trainingsites.io. You know, my big shtick here is that the classes is the middle part that you monetize. So I'm looking at it, you know, that library is that big moat of content that we have that we create and put together. And the classes is that part that is where the value is for you doing all of the things that you hopefully love to do, talking about what it is that you're excited about. And whether that's on Zoom or some kind of live stream, or actually a live session if it's local or you have conferences, people will pay for that connection to the other people and to have their specific questions answered live without having to necessarily share it or learn how other people have been able to apply it. And I think that's where, you know, when you're guiding people or mentoring people, for me, I'm saying, hey, here's a framework. This is a way to use AI to generate the content or the process that you need to, in my case, let me just do one just to show you some of the frameworks that I've been putting together here. Um, you know, I have the FIT framework, I have the TAC framework. I've been putting all of these ones together and just starting to build them out. And this is a framework that is for turning the video courses into mini apps. And it's a series of steps, and it includes prompts. and approaches. And if I can teach this to someone who wants to do the same thing as me, and they go, well, you used this acronym or use this process, how did you apply it here if I'm doing something a bit different? So I'm not saying here's the content and the only way to do it. I'm saying here's a framework or a recipe that I've used successfully and it can be applied to get this kind of output. Why don't you try it and see what happens? And if you're stuck, come and join me in one of those live classes. So, guiding or mentoring, coaching, teaching, I think in some respects, those are all interchangeable words. The the thing that I'm trying not to do is to lecture people on content. I think it's like, hey, what are you up to? Have you got this part of the process done? Where are you stuck? What have you tried? What have you not tried? And being able to use all that experience that you have that, hopefully helps out a little bit. So live Zoom calls will be a hit. Yeah, for us personally at the training sites campus, we do them 3 times a week. So for mine, just as an example, in the classes here, and I might actually do this one as well. But we have live Zoom calls for all of the paid members who are campus builders. We have live sessions where they're just co-working sessions. So it's not a webinar, it's not a lecture, it's nothing that is specifically covered during it. On the Mondays, for example, we focus on AI related things, whether it be a tool or how to use a tool or apply one of the tools that we have. And then we have more of a strategy one on Tuesday, live session on Wednesdays for everyone. And then Friday, we're going to start doing another working session. So those are all Zoom calls, and it's like teaching stuff, right? It's like guiding an application. It's about making sure that people follow through with what it is that they did. And again, that's the value. People will pay for that. And I'll think they'll even pay more than they would for a traditional course or traditional content, because it's just a connection with real people again in that community about something that is liked and shared. If you do have any questions, what else do you have there? Who else we got? Mark, Andrew Sky. New to AI learning, do you have any videos for effective AI learning? There's a perfect question. So let me ask you this. Okay, let's just do that. There's a couple things for effective learning. I'll show you 2 right off the bat. And again, I've done some videos on this one, and hopefully we won't get any feedback. Might have to just get my keyboard wireless connection put together here. Oh, there we go. Okay. So here's one of the things that you can do if you want to figure out how to do something. And this, I'm not sure if this works. I'm going to show you this on my screen. I just opened up ChatGPT here, and sometimes this doesn't work. I'm on a Mac, and sometimes some of the things don't show up in the application, but they will show up in the browser. So I'm in the browser here, and if you go, and I just did the little down arrow here, if you go and you select more, in my case, you'll see there's study and learn. So study and learn uses the Socratic teaching method. If you put a prompt in here now, and we'll put a prompt, if you do this, and you try it where you are right now, if you go and do this, it will not give you an answer. It'll actually teach you how to do something. So the question you had is said, I'm new to AI learning. Do you make videos for effective AI learning? So if you just type in here and we just go, I'm new to AI learning and want to get started, where do I get started? What do I need to do? And the thing that's cool about this is, and again, all of the tools have this, but it's basically just going to come out and say, okay, great, where do you get started? And it doesn't give any answers. It says, okay, do you want it for personal learning or are you building something? So it does a check to see where you are and what you need to do. And then it gives some instructions, and it'll ask you to go and play something. And it says, hey, go try it. So let's do a starter plan. So there's a classic example of, do I have a course that is specific about how to make videos for effective AI learning? If you're not sure, I would go and suggest start with ChatGPT, just like the person did at the start. Just go, hey, I want to learn how to do this for videos. And you'll be able to come up with some answers that work for you. And again, if you use some iterative verbal prompting, natural language interactions, and then just go out and start trying some things about that specific task. Do I personally have any courses for that right now? No, I have a process that I apply for you to learn how to do that, but I don't have a course. And that's where that whole idea of a framework comes in. So, in your particular case, what I'd love for you to do is go to the trainingsites.io/join, go join the community for free and put that question in, and we'll just work through it online in the community. And show me some examples, show the other people the examples, what worked, what didn't work. And I think you'd be kind of amazed and delighted with the ability to get the content that you need to get the result or outcome that you need. So, no, I don't have a course on that. I ask ChatGPT for everything up front, and I think that's the way most people do moving forward. And AI learning, I will talk about one thing kind of that I've learned with AI learning and making videos for effective AI learning. And this is what I was talking about kind of at the start, where again, my personal thing is I get people who say, James, I just want to go and I want to do an avatar. I'm afraid to be on the camera, or I don't have the kit at home to do it, to do stuff that is all fancy. My personal belief on this and the way that I kind of got into it is I did a couple months of live streams. I just did live streams as best as I could. Some of them were crappy and I deleted them. You can do live streams that are unlisted, so they don't show up for anyone, but you still do the live stream. And then you can go and replay it after, because when you do a live stream, you can record it. That's kind of the first thing. The second thing is I didn't have any fancy equipment when I started. I just used my smartphone, which is more than enough to get going with it. And then the other thing is I started to learn about doing live edits. And again, that's something that can happen later, and that lets me to do, some of these things back and forth with different ideas, making all of these changes. And once you get comfortable doing that, you can just do content whenever you need to do content. And I recommend that if you aren't comfortable on YouTube, it's like get on and do as much as you can, as fast as you can, because not only do you get practice of talking to people and sharing what's on your screen, whether that happens to be a piece of software or a video that you're talking about with people, or stuff that you just want to do and talk with people and have them apply where they are, it gets you comfortable doing that. But you have to remember, and this is the gold with YouTube, every YouTube video has a transcript, and every transcript is easily repurposed into whatever format that you need for your customers or clients. And because it is text and video and multimodal content, it is available to AI to pull or use as part of your community library when you make it available to some of the AI tools, for example, with MCP. So that's kind of my story in the background there. How long have I been talking on this? These are ones where I come on for these ones and there's nothing kind of structured about it, but some questions come up, things happen, and hopefully you're getting a little bit of value from this. If any of this makes sense and you want to learn more about it, make sure to go to trainingsites.io/join. And again, I think that is the big question that people are missing, is that if you're serious about education, it's not anymore about I have an LMS and learning management software, or I'm using a service that has a place for courses. I think there's far more than courses is the part that you have to think about. And those static, structured, long programs, um, everyone's going to have more trouble than they have had in the last 2 years trying to sell that stuff, but it's going to get worse in terms of selling information the way that we normally did it. I think it's about community and transformation and being able to share the experiences and have someone to talk to. That's what I'm counting on. Whether it turns out that way, I'm not quite sure. The only caveat that I see personally on that, and I think it's still going to be work out, is that I'm seeing a lot of avatar stuff coming in all of the AI research that I'm doing. And I've done a couple of videos, for example, on Google Portraits. Grok has an avatar that's more adult companion organized, but wearable devices and things that are happening really quickly in the next 500 days. So just put that into perspective. In the next 500 days, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we've all got some kind of avatar that is our personal AI employee slash friend who we're talking to when we're walking around with our Google or Meta glasses on and talking about the screen and what's going on and what I need to do. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And if you are trying to sell education content and not a transformation or something that people get at the end of it, I'm not sure what's going to happen there. It's going to be really, really exciting. And that's the other thing that's cool too, is that I'm seeing now a lot of people, at least I get it on my feed, probably because I've been searching it a lot. And I have done quite a few Zoom calls where I've been guests for higher education spaces. And the education space, you'll probably hear more about alpha schools in the States. I think it's K through 12, but those are internet AI first schools. And they do 2 hours in the morning, for example, with AI. And I don't know if it's their personal avatar slash AI companion, but they're AI classes in the morning where they're just working with AI. And then in the afternoon, they do social interactions or ones where they're actually interacting with people, but not necessarily learning content from a teacher or a lesson. And if I'm not mistaken, they don't even call the teachers, the adults that are there with them, I think they call them guides. And they have specific guides with specific areas of expertise. So that's happening in the States in the K through 12 thing. And I think the education market, the formal education market, there's some huge, huge issues that they're not even willing to address in many cases. And it's the same thing with courses. If people are a traditional course salesperson or you have a traditional course business, like the member that I was talking about before, um, they, they're having trouble and it's not going to get any easier. And I think the cool thing is that if you have a course business and you're watching this right now and you go, oh man, I got to change my business. You do and you don't. The gentleman I was just talking to, he has a whole bunch of content and the content is still relevant because he does it on a particular piece of expensive software that has not changed often and he doesn't have a lot of competition in it, but he has a lot of content that is there in video format. He can repurpose that from the transcriptions and make out his library, his community library, and allow people to interact not only with the videos, but all of the repurposed content that he's done. And whether that is using something like Notebook LM to create explainer videos on pieces, or doing deep research on how it gets applied, or for example, creating podcasts or any of these additional pieces and building that into the library. I have one other client that I'm working with, and he has 1,000 scripts for presentations that he's done. He has the written scripts, and he's got 40 years of experience in executive search and executive career placement. So we're building out a campus for him that is just about career management for middle and senior executives, because he has got an absolute huge community library that can be repurposed. And it's not about here's my course, it's about here's my community library. And if you need help about improving or advancing your community, I've got this huge library of relevant information in all of these different formats that AI can access. And if you need some extra help, I'm here to help. But yeah, it costs some money. And if you want your resume and your management done of your career, that's another agency service that we provide, and you monetize that. So if you have a lot of content, cool. You're all ahead of a lot of people. It's just got to get into a community library, and I don't think a static course is the way to monetize it anymore. So hopefully that kind of helps. Any other questions there? I probably I think, how long have I been talking? 46 minutes. Holy mackerel, I get going on these. Let me know if there's anything else that's there. Um, I'm going to mention Zoom for a second. Zoom is one of those tools that I personally, I don't like Zoom personally. Uh, the reason I don't like it is because I find the screens kind of the way the screens are structured, and I have a couple monitors that are up. And what happens is I often lose that little ribbon that shows up that allows you to do chats and share screens and let other people share screens and that kind of stuff. I often lose it on multiple pages, or I don't know which screen that I'm showing or I'm not showing. The other one that is exciting that I have spent some more time with now is Google Meet. And something that's interesting with Google Meet, and this is the other thing I didn't mention with YouTube. Google Meet does auto translation within Google Meet now. So in as much as I'm speaking English, as these things get a little bit better, there may be people in different languages that are joining in on these Zoom calls and actually, being able to get the context or what it is that I'm talking about or showing on the screen or teaching them how to do or doing with them, keeping them accountable doing it. Um, they're in their native language. I'm in my native language. So that'll be kind of interesting to see what happens with that one. And that's Google Meet. I'm not sure that Zoom does that, but Google Meet, I just like the interface a little bit better, but it's not as popular. So kind of a tough one to go. And again, I'm just, the language thing is another whole situation. The ones in the last 3 weeks, we saw Google do auto translation on the phone. So I speak in English. If you're speaking Spanish, it comes out in Spanish on your phone. You reply in Spanish, it comes in English on my phone. So Google did that with the brand new Pixel devices. Apple last week did the earbuds, where you're speaking in one language, the other person's speaking another language, it's translated in your ears. And then also they had the one with the Meta glasses yesterday. Someone is speaking in one language, you're getting a translation in your glasses. So, even the language part is changing really quickly, and the way that people are interacting with each other outside of what was a traditional market. So that's kind of cool as well. And I think Google Meet does that one by itself, not 100% sure. So if there aren't any questions, yeah, live Zoom calls will be a hit. Any other questions there? Let me know. I don't think there are. Yeah, give me a thumbs up. Put some comments below. I'd love to hear them. Like and subscribe, all of the stuff I'm supposed to say. And of course, make sure to go to trainingsites.io/join the community. Just get in there. Hopefully you won't lurk. I got a lot of lurkers still. I got to work on the engagement part, which I have a framework for that I've created that I'm just starting to implement. Hopefully you'll get in there and kind of share what it is that you're doing. Whether, and again, I'll just show this to you because we're here, is that if you, for example, just have a general discussion on what's the best way to learn about AI or learn how AI learning works, or if you have a particular tool, for example, that you've used or a resource that you found, if you've been able to create some kind of content or a mini app or a tool that you want to share and announce with people. And again, if you've got something that is a win and a celebration, go and put it in. I'd love to hear about those things and let you share what's going on in your education business, because there is no right answer anymore. Everyone has their own unique answer, and that's the great part. There is no expert on AI. There just isn't. It's how you apply it and you get the answers that you want for the customers that you're trying to provide some kind of change or outcome for. So thanks a lot for joining me today. I don't think there's one last try for questions just because. No. Oh, there we go. Hey, thanks, Mail. Thanks, Anil. And team, wonderful. Okay, there we go. Okay, thanks guys. I'll pack it in. I'll probably come back. I try and do these every day, but who knows what's going to happen on the weekend here. And again, if you aren't a member that's a paid member that gets a live training, every Wednesday at 1 o'clock we do a live open Q&A as well. So take care, guys. Expect the best. we'll talk to you soon. Have a good weekend.